Related to that, you spoke about how this is an effort to close. This is part of an effort to close Guantanamo Bay. Can you talk about how, with this announcement, how far off you think that day is?
Well, as I've said before, I think it's going to be difficult to close the facility by January the 22nd. And one of the things that I think is most problematic in that regard is trying to relocate the people who are going to be approved for transfer, finding places where they can be safely placed, both for the nation that will host them and for American citizens. I'm not sure we're going to be able to complete that process by January the 22nd, though we are constantly in the process of trying to do exactly that.
For the detainees that will be brought to U.S. soil, can you give us a sense of, are they going to be distributed through federal prisons throughout the country? Will there be one central location? Could you give us a sense of how that will play out?
My expectation is that they will be housed, as all defendants are, near the places where the trials will occur.
How soon do you think charges will be filed against these five?
I think that's hard to say. We will seek to bring these indictments as quickly as we can. We'll obviously have to follow the laws that have been passed by Congress with regard to notifications, the 45-day waiting period. But I would expect that we will have indictments returned relatively soon.
You said that you're charging them with the most serious offenses appropriate. You didn't come out and say specifically that they're going to be charged with the 9/11 attacks. Can you elaborate on that? I mean, are they going to be charged with that conspiracy specifically, or with something less than that or related to that?
They'll be charged for what we believe they did, and that is to mastermind and carry out the 9/11 attacks.
General Holder, how close a call was your decision to send this to civilian court, given the gravity of the issues that you face, one security, the classified evidence, the torture issue that's been discussed? How close a call was it?
I've only been Attorney General for 8 or 9 months, and I think this is about the toughest decision that I've had to make as Attorney General, trying to balance the need to ensure that we maximize our chances of success and hold accountable the people who committed these heinous offenses, while at the same time adhering to what I think has been a guide for this administration, adherence to the rule of law, balancing all those factors, taking into account the desires of the victims, trying to protect classified information, taking all these things into account. It has been a very difficult decision, but I'm comfortable with the decisions that we have made with regard to the placement of people, both in civilian courts as well as the military commissions.
You said you're very comfortable with the legal reasons for these decisions and how you expect this to play out legally. How concerned are you about how this will play out politically? Because obviously there's the Hill and there's public opinion, which some polls suggest aren't really a fan of this idea of bringing people to trial.
My job as Attorney General is to look at the law, apply the facts to the law, and ultimately do what I think is in the best interest of this country and our system of justice. Those are my guides. To the extent that there are political consequences, I'll just have to take my lumps to the extent that those are sent my way. But I think if people will, in a neutral and detached way, look at the decision that I have made today, understand the reasons why I made those decisions, and try to do something that's rare in Washington, leave the politics out of it, and focus on what's in the best interest of this country, I think the criticism will be relatively muted. Having said that, I'm sure we'll hear a lot of criticism.
Address some of your concerns about the Speedy Trial Act with these cases, and also how much of these trials can we expect would be open to the public given some of the classified information that would be at hand?
Well, I don't want to speculate about any particular motions that might be filed. With regard to the openness of the trials, I think we get a sense of that from other significant terrorist trials that have occurred where they were largely open. Portions of them will likely be closed so that classified information, sources, and methods are not revealed. But I would expect that these trials will be open to the public, open to the world, and open to the survivors and victims of these heinous acts.
Last question.
Will you try these suspects together or separately, and do you think they can get a fair trial in New York?
I expect that we will try them together, and I expect that through a really searching, complete voir dire process that we can come up with a jury that will ensure that the defendants will get a fair trial in New York.
How many criminal trials do you expect? How many criminal trials and how many military commissions in all?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.